If you're ready to gain clarity, align with God's calling, and activate the habits that accelerate real growth in your life, you're in the right spot. This is the Worthy Woman Podcast. My name is Amy Ramsey. I'm a Jesus follower, a certified high performance coach, and a life and leadership strategist. This is where you'll come to for real life coaching, strategies, and tools, all delivered through a Bible-based and science-backed approach to help you walk worthy of that calling that's inside of you and make the impact that God designed you to carry. Let's go straight to the episode. Oh my goodness. Welcome back to the Worthy Woman Podcast. I'm so excited today because I have my dear friend, Bonnie McDonald, on with me today. Welcome, Bonnie.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
I'm so glad you're here. Friends, this is a treat. And if you have dealt with any trauma in your life, if any trauma has happened to you or through you, you're going to want to listen to this podcast. If you've had like maybe even some residual struggle with trauma and you are just like needing some help, this podcast is for you. If you want to know how to have like that healing from the inside out, the healing that comes from Christ and Christ alone, and how to have that foundation of this, you're going to want to hear what Bonnie has to say. And I'm so excited. She's not only my friend, she's also, well, a coaching client. There's that. But I also look to her as a mentor. She is wise. She's grounded. She's has a life that I aspire to have. I like to watch her in her godly characteristics and how she loves others and serves well. And she's a spicy pepper like me. So there's that. Which makes me like you even more, Miss Bonnie. Oh, okay. So we're going to be talking about her brand new book that's about to be released. So let me read her bio. Bonnie McDonald is a writer and a real estate professional with deep passions for prayer, discipleship, and helping others find hope after hardship. With a background in discipleship ministry and education, she weaves biblical truth and practical encouragement to guide readers toward healing and renewal. She lives in North Carolina, North Kakalaki. That's what we used to call it when I lived there, with her husband Flint, and treasures time with their quickly growing family. You've got grandbabies coming left and right. So
Yeah,
anyway, so glad you're here, sweet friend.
thank you. I'm glad to be here and glad to share my book, Firm Foundation, Resilience After Trauma.
Yes, yes, yes. Um, Actually, you hired me when you were writing this book and trying to finish up the book. Come to think of it.
Yes,
Yeah,
gosh.
we became fast friends. So sometimes I get, it's like that professional part I've forgotten. But yeah, that is why you hired me, was to finish up this book. And I got to know you as a person, and I was like, wow, she's the real deal. I really like her. So, Bonnie, what inspired you to write Firm Foundation, Resilience After Trauma? And who is this book for?
The Lord inspired me to write the book because after the trauma happened to our family, I I knew that there was a reason for this, and I felt like part of the reason to write the book was to help me heal, and part of the reason is to help others. I wasn't sure of which way the Lord intended, but He knows, so it doesn't matter. And I basically had set aside the oh, I'm supposed to write a book. I had sort of set that aside because we had our kids in high school and then college, and those are busy times.
So
And
you got the call to write the book way back when.
Yes, like about 2013, 2014, around that time. And I took some steps in 2017 and joined a writers group and started and tried and floundered and didn't really know what to do. And then in 2024, I went to a retreat at the Cove, the Billy Graham Training Center in Black Mountain. And the Lord reminded me, what about that book? And when I got home, it's the craziest thing. I had this email from the publisher saying, "Hey, we're looking for people to write one chapter in a book." And it's a back to school book for moms. And so that's how I began the journey towards writing, because I thought, oh, I'll write a chapter in this book, and that will give me a taste of what it's like so I can see, okay, how do I do this? Because I didn't have any idea how to do that. And then fast forward to 2025 when I was recovering from the first surgery I've ever had, and thought, oh, when I get through this surgery, I'm going to need somebody to help me get my act together. And so I talked to you about that, but then you helped me realize, no, I needed you right then, not the next spring. So that's how I came to writing the book.
So, Bonnie, tell us about the book. What happened? Why did you write this book?
Our son was 14 years old at the time, and he had grown up in, athletic culture, and he was a wrestler. He played football and he was a baseball player, and he had just wrestled a match, and he was a high school freshman, and that particular match was a high school senior. And after the match, he went into cardiac arrest.
And
And
how old was he?
14.
Crazy.
Yes. And so the miracle is that the Lord saved his life. There were people, bystanders, who did compressions for CPR and essentially saved his life. There was an AED present, and it was, the adult leads were missing, and the pediatric leads they didn't use. Um, they waited for, the EMS to arrive. Um, it's all a blur. I go into it a little more detailed, but not enough detail to upset the reader.
Yeah, like
So
no
I,
trigger warning on it.
yes, yes, because anyone who's experienced a hardship, and depending on a person's personality, those type of deeply descriptive words can take you back to a place you don't want to go.
Mhm.
So I wrote the book so that the reader can actually be helped by the book, not have to shut the book because they can't read the book.
Right, 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 right. So when you are writing about this and firm foundation, resilience after trauma, what is the firm foundation? What is this, and how does one rebuild a foundation, apply to healing in real life?
So I wrote about the firm foundation because I was walking on the beach, and because I'm a realtor, my eyes are trained to find the defects.
Hmm.
Because when I show a house in North Carolina, when you show a house, it is the buyer is agreeing to buy the house in the state that it's presented, in its current state.
Mhm.
And so I want my buyer to know all the defects. So I point out all the defects that I see. I say,
Mhm.
hey, let's go flush the toilets. Let's run the spigots. Let's look under the kitchen sink. Let's, hey, do you have, somebody that can come with you that can crawl up under the house? Let's see what all is there. I'm not kidding. I mean, I live in a rural area. A lot of people say, "Heck yeah, I'll bring a set of coveralls. I'll go under the house." And so they come with the light and
Yeah.
all, at a showing. And that's what we should do to be diligent. So I point out all the defects. Well, I'm walking along the beach, and my prayer partner and I had gone to the beach for the purpose of me getting in some writing time. And we had gone to worship, and I had heard the song Firm Foundation. And
Mm,
then we're walking down the beach and we're looking at all these houses, and we're thinking, oh my gosh, how hard it would be to own a home at the beach because, the storms. I mean, the North Carolina coast gets a lot of bad
yeah.
weather,
Yeah.
and we're just noticing the damages on the homes and talking about it. And when I come back, Diane goes to her room to read, and I'm sitting in there, and the Lord just gives me, like I've heard you say, a divine download.
Yep.
Like it was just like
Boom.
into my mind
Beautiful.
a whole metaphor of a home and rebuilding a home. So
Mhm.
throughout the book, the metaphor of the home is used so that the reader can remove themselves from it a little bit and read about a home being renovated after a storm and the processes that it goes through and how that has a parallel to our lives.
Mhm.
And so if you think about all the steps of renovating a home, excuse me, then you can see, like, one example that's used is about flooring. Like when you renovate a home, you don't know what kind of flooring is underneath what's
No,
there.
you don't. No.
And that is very similar to when you start the counseling process. You don't know what's underneath that either A, you never have acknowledged before because it was part of your life. You didn't know that wasn't normal.
Mhm.
Or B, it's there, but this new damage to the home, this new injury that you might have experienced makes it come up in a different way that you thought was already healed.
Mhm.
And so I give some practical help on things to do to help with the healing process. And ultimately, the Lord is in charge of that. I don't want to say if you do this, this, and this, then this is going to happen because the Lord doesn't follow a formula, and He allows the freedom in our lives of expression. And so the healing journey will be unique for every person. I really admire counselors who are Christian counselors who allow themselves to be used in that way because it seems like that would be an exhausting profession.
Yeah.
Um,
Seems like it would. I agree.
yeah, I went for a lot of counseling, and counselors are expensive. That like this was 2013,
Mhm.
and it was a few $100s an hour.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the current rates are because I don't go currently, but it's pretty expensive. And because I served in full-time ministry at the time, the counselor that I had had a policy of if you're serving in full-time ministry, then yours is half price, which was a huge blessing. But Flint's was not half price, and our insurance didn't cover anything for counseling. So I don't know about other people, but I think counseling for an ordinary person can likely be out of the picture because it's so expensive. And I do think that insurance might pay some for some people, but this is a way to receive help.
It's a resource, is what you're trying to say.
Yes.
This is a
It's
resource. It walks
yes.
people through. Before we hit record on this, we both talked and how odd it is. We both had a situation that happened over the weekend, and each of us individually, I was sharing with Bonnie, I've had trauma in my own life as well, and mine's much different than hers. And I think Bonnie, for me, I think through, I should be healed, not almost even in a place of shame. Like I don't feel shame around not being fully healed, but I had a situation I shared with you earlier, and I had a triggered response. And when you're triggered, you often don't understand, why am I Mach 10 right now? Like it almost feels like, like what is going on? It's confusing. And then I just had a moment after, I'm like, okay, apparently I need to I need some help. I've got some more trauma that's just feels like it's buried. Maybe it's time to get some healing. I had a dream that was a nightmare that was just frightening, and it had something to do with that situation. But anyway, you shared something too, and you had a similar thing on Saturday. But healing comes in layers.
Mhm.
And and you mentioned before that it's often we'll be healed fully and whole fully when we step on the other side of glory, for sure. But there's so much that we can do right now. And I really like the way that you help somebody understand that you can't heal quickly. I mean, you can do what you can do, but I remember somebody telling me when in the middle of the worst season of my life, somebody looked at me and said, you need to get in counseling, and it needs to be for a long time. And I don't know how, I didn't feel good about the way that they said that. And I thought, how dare them? They were right. They were honestly, they were right. I didn't understand how long that healing process was going to
Mhm.
take. So, what do you say? I think sometimes resiliency, because that's the other part of resilience after trauma, resiliency could almost be a little bit shallow in our day and age. Bounce back, get back to it. Come on, you got it. Pick yourself up by your bootstraps. It's you're be glad, be grateful, and let's just move on. But that's not the way the body and the soul and the spirit hold on to things that are really, really hard, really traumatic. So, what do you say to that? The process of healing and the process of resiliency.
Well, I certainly don't think of resilience as anything quick. I
Mhm.
think of it as using the metaphor of the house. If a house's foundation is rocked, is shaken, it's not a quick repair.
Mhm.
And it takes a team of people. It takes the counselors. It takes the the family members. It takes a community of believers in a church.
Mhm.
There are a lot of pieces to it. And as believers, we may be submitting ourselves for some of those things, but not all of those things. And I perceive that healing comes through each of those things to heal a different part of us.
Mhm.
And I just share my experience in that because it wasn't like in my life, all of a sudden I thought, oh, I'm healed from all of this because I know and I freely admit that I'm not. Um, am I much better than I was, in 2014? Absolutely.
Mhm.
Um, I've learned to rely on the Lord. My faith has grown. I've learned to hold this life loosely.
Mhm.
Um, because everything is His.
Right.
And what we do here, our little bit of time here, is preparing us for eternity.
That's right.
So I I I don't like to put God in a box or say that if you do all the things in this book that you're going to be completely healed because it, we want to be strengthened. We want to be able to encourage other people. We want to be able to be fruitful in our lives. But we also, none of us will ever have that until we see Jesus face to face. And so I I think that the world would like for us to say, yes, bounce back, be resilient. But we can only do that to the degree that we allow ourselves to walk in the freedom that Jesus gives us.
That is good. That is good. And we have responsibility with our resiliency. We have, I mean, we either can, because there's a lot of people who stay stuck in trauma and they
Hmm.
don't go through the healing
Hmm.
process. And so
Yes.
this book is a resource, you guys. And we were talking before, so it's launching soon. You can go to bonniesmcdonald.com and grab it. I'm going to put it in the show notes. And here's what I have a big ask for my audience here. I want you to go and pre-order this book. And right when you get the book, read it and leave a review. That's the way, that's the world we live in. It's a big, big deal for Bonnie to go and do this. And then I'm going to even have a bigger ask. This would be a brilliant resource to have in ICUs, sitting around in ICUs.
Mm.
She was sharing a story of a family that she's been praying for, and kind of a God moment type of thing. Somebody was headed to the hospital and picked up two copies and bringing them to parents that are in ICU. One was going through what she endured. How many ever years ago? Was that 20 years ago or is that 10 years ago? Just 10 years ago. Yeah.
13.
13 years ago. But how much of a resource this would be for parents that are sitting there just, uh, you know, with their worst nightmare coming, trying to figure out what to do. So this is a resource. This is a resource for anyone that you're needing some encouragement in your faith and you're wanting to take that next level. She's got practical steps in there for you to help you heal and to become more whole and to live fully alive, which is a lot of what we talk about in Accelerate Her and in our coaching programs is, to do the work, to honor the heart and to do the work. Um, so, Bonnie, I'm so grateful that you were here today. And real quickly, I want to ask you this question. I didn't ask you this one earlier. So, when you think of this, you think of this book, you think of kind of like the overall scheme of God's will and your calling. What do you think of in this season of your life does it mean to walk worthy?
Mm. To walk in obedience
Mhm.
and to not shrink back from obedience. Um, in every aspect, if it's in every aspect of life, um, that God is glorified. He is in the heavens and he can do as he pleases. And our time here is to do what he says
That's
and
right.
make disciples. And
Right.
one of the ways that we make our foundation firm is by reading his word and making disciples, because everybody knows the teacher learns the most. So
Right.
if you're making disciples, you're learning about the Lord the most. And I want to say to every listener that if you haven't experienced trauma yet, you're likely going to. You're going to experience some sort of hardship.
Yeah.
So I've never been more grateful to know that my family knew the Lord than when this we encountered this season, because it does shake your foundation. And the best thing that we can do is daily keep that strengthened by reading the Bible and praying to the Lord every day so that we're ready for whatever the day brings.
That's right. That's so good. Growing in your faith. I think that's what I'm also hearing with that is like spiritual maturity,
Mhm.
growing in your faith. I like to look at it like this. Am I stronger in my faith? Do I have more faith? Do I trust God more now than I did this time last year? And those storms, when they come, that's when you know. You don't need a whole lot of faith when everything's working right. It's
Mhm.
when the rug is ripped out from underneath you. That's where you know where
Mhm.
the rubber meets the road. And so, Well done, my friend. I'm so proud of you. I'm so stinking proud of you. You did it.
Thank
You
you.
did the thing. I am so proud of you. You guys go get Firm Foundation Resilience After Trauma by Bonnie Shue McDonald. She did not set out to be an author. This wasn't what she wanted to do. She's not like, oh my gosh, I cannot wait. No, this was obedience to her. And I know this resource is going to change so many lives. Okay, my friend. Well, thank you so much for being here with us today. You guys go grab it. Tag, screenshot this, tag Bonnie and I both in social media, and we will reshare it, or at least I will.
I
We'll reshare.
will.
Yeah, she'll do it too. Okay, y'all go find her as well. All right, guys, we'll be back this time, same time next week. Thanks so much. Bye bye. As we wrap up today, I want to remind you of the heartbeat behind this space. Ephesians 4:1 calls us to walk worthy of the calling we have received. And this podcast exists to help you rise into the identity God placed inside of you and to live out the assignment that He has entrusted you to do. My friend, you are needed, you are necessary, and your life carries purpose. If this episode encouraged you, would you please do me a favor and subscribe to the show? Leave a rating and a review, and please share it with a friend who also needs this reminder. And I want to say thank you so much for spending this time with me. I am cheering for you. I'm championing you on, and I will see you next week on the Worthy Woman podcast.